From the outside, everything looked perfect. A beautiful wedding, a happy bride, a successful husband. People smiled. They said, "She's so lucky." And maybe she believed it too. Her name was Lalo, young, kind, full of hope. She married Aziz, a man everyone respected. Rich, confident, charming, the kind of man every family wanted. At first, everything felt like a dream. A big house, nice cars, a comfortable life. No worries, no struggles. Aziz gave her everything, or at least, it looked that way. "Are you happy?" he asked one evening. Lalo smiled. Yes, and in that moment, she meant it, because she didn't know. Not yet. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly, small things began to change. Aziz started coming home late, very late. Sometimes not at all. Lalo noticed, but she didn't question it. Work, he said. Business, meetings. And it made sense, at least on the surface. But something felt off. Not obvious, not clear, just different. One night, Lalo sat alone, waiting. The clock ticked, slowly, painfully. Her phone in her hand, no message, no call, nothing. "He's just busy," she whispered, trying to convince herself. But deep inside, something didn't feel right. And sometimes, that small feeling is the beginning of the truth. The kind of truth that changes everything. Because Lalo didn't know yet that her perfect husband was living a second life. At first, it was just a feeling, nothing clear, nothing visible, just something not right. Lalo couldn't explain it, but she felt it, that quiet discomfort, that small voice inside. Something is wrong. She tried to ignore it, told herself, "You're overthinking," but the feeling didn't leave. It stayed, growing, slowly. She began to notice things, small things, details, the kind people usually ignore. Aziz's phone, always with him, always face down, always silent, even at night. He never left it anywhere, not even for a second. One evening, Lalo reached for it, just to check the time, but suddenly, Aziz took it quickly, too quickly. "I need it," he said. His voice calm, but his reaction wasn't. Lalo froze. "I was just looking," she said quietly. Aziz nodded. "I know." But something had changed. In that moment, something small, but important. Later that night, Lalo couldn't sleep, her mind replaying everything, his behavior, his tone, that reaction. "Why would he do that?" she whispered. No answer, only questions. The next days, she watched more carefully, without showing it, without asking, because sometimes you don't want the truth, but you still look for it. Aziz became more distant. Short conversations, quick answers, no eye contact. As if he was there, but not really there. One afternoon, Lalo found something, a receipt, in his jacket, from a restaurant, expensive, for 2 people. Her heart stopped. She stared at it. "This isn't mine," she whispered, her hands trembling. The date, yesterday. The time, late evening. The same time he said, "I'm working." Silence. Heavy. Real. For the first time, her thoughts changed. Not maybe, but what if? What if he's lying? That question felt dangerous, because once you ask it, you can't ignore it anymore. That night, Aziz came home late again, as usual, but Lalo didn't speak, didn't ask, didn't show anything. She just watched. carefully, quietly, because now she wasn't just feeling something, she was starting to understand it. And sometimes the truth doesn't come all at once. It comes in pieces, small pieces, until one day they form something you can no longer deny. After that day, Laylo stopped trusting her thoughts, not because they were wrong, but because they were starting to make sense. And that scared her, because sometimes the truth hurts more than the doubt. She didn't confront him, didn't ask questions, didn't accuse. Instead, she watched, carefully, silently, like someone waiting for proof. Days passed. Aziz's behavior didn't change. Late nights, short answers, no explanations, and always that phone. Always close, always protected. Laylo started noticing patterns. The same days, the same hours, the same excuses. Meeting, work, important client. But now, they didn't sound real. They sounded practiced. One evening, everything changed. Aziz left in a hurry, forgot something, his second phone. Laylo saw it on the table. Her heart stopped. Second phone? Her hands trembled. She stared at it. "This can't be," she whispered. But it was, real, right in front of her. She hesitated. For a moment, she didn't move, because she knew, once she touched it, everything would change. But then, she reached for it, slowly, carefully, her fingers shaking. She unlocked it, no password, as if he didn't expect anyone to find it. Her breath became heavy. She opened the messages, and there it was. Everything. Messages, photos, words she never expected to see. "I miss you. When will I see you again? Last night was perfect." Her vision blurred. Her heart dropped. "No," she whispered, scrolling. More messages, more proof, more lies. Then a name, repeated again and again. Nargiza. Laylo froze. That name felt familiar. Too familiar. Her mind raced. And then it hit her. Nargiza was someone she knew. Not just anyone, not a stranger, but someone close, very close. Her hands started shaking harder. "This can't be real," she said. But it was. Every word, every message, every moment, real. Her husband was not just lying. He was living a second life with someone she trusted. And in that moment, everything broke. Not loudly, not suddenly, but completely. Because betrayal doesn't just hurt, it changes everything. That name echoed in her mind, over and over again. Nargiza. Laylo stood frozen, her heart racing, her thoughts spinning. "No, it can't be her," she whispered. Because if it was, then this wasn't just betrayal. This was something worse, something deeper, something unforgivable. Her hands trembled as she scrolled again. Photos, messages, memories, all of it, clear, undeniable. And then, one photo. Laylo's breath stopped. It was them, together, close, comfortable, happy. Too happy, as if nothing was wrong, as if nothing was being destroyed. Laylo stared at the screen, her eyes filling with tears, because now there was no doubt, no confusion, no maybe. It was real, and the worst part was not just who it was, but what she meant. Nargiza was her closest friend, the one she trusted, the one she shared everything with, the one who stood beside her on her wedding day, smiling, supporting, pretending. Laylo's knees felt weak. She slowly sat down, her world spinning. How could could she? She whispered. Not just him, but her. The person who knew everything. Her fears, her dreams, her life. And still chose this. Chose betrayal. Chose lies. Chose him. Tears fell. Quiet. Endless. Because sometimes pain comes from one person, but betrayal from two. Laylo closed her eyes, trying to breathe, trying to understand, trying to accept something that felt impossible. But deep inside, she already knew. This was not a mistake. This was not an accident. This was a choice. Repeated, hidden, planned, and now exposed. The door opened suddenly. Laylo looked up. Aziz, standing there. He froze. His eyes moved to the phone in her hand, then to her face. Tears, silence. Everything became clear. In 1 second. Laylo, he said slowly, but she didn't answer, didn't speak, didn't move. Because what was there to say when everything was already broken? Silence filled the room. Heavy, sharp, unavoidable. Aziz stood still. Laylo sat there, holding the phone. The truth between them, clear, undeniable. Say something, Aziz said quietly. Layla looked at him, her eyes full of pain. What should I say? She replied, her voice calm, too calm. That scared him more, because calm meant something had already broken. You can explain, he said quickly, as if words could fix this. Layla let out a soft, bitter laugh. Explain what? She asked. This? She lifted the phone. The messages still open, the proof still there. Or her. That word hung in the air, heavy. Aziz looked away, just for a second. But that second said everything. Laylo saw it, and that hurt more than anything. You didn't even try to deny it, she whispered. Silence, because there was nothing to deny. I was going to tell you, Izzy said. Another mistake. Another lie. Laylo shook her head slowly. When? She asked. When it was over? When I found out myself? When you got bored of her? Each question cut deeper, because each one felt true. Aziz clenched his jaw. It's not what you think, he said. Layla looked at him for a long moment, then softly, it's exactly what I think. Silence, raw, real. And her, Laylo continued, her voice breaking slightly now. My friend, she knew everything. And still, her words stopped, because sometimes pain is too heavy to speak. As he stepped forward, Laylo, listen. Don't. She raised her hand, stopping him. I trusted you. Simple words, but full of everything. And I trusted her. Her voice cracked. That was my mistake. Tears fell, not softly anymore, but freely, because there was nothing left to hold, nothing left to protect, nothing left to save. Aziz stood there, helpless, because for the first time he saw it, not the situation, not the problem, but the damage, real, deep, irreversible. What do you want me to do? He asked quietly. Layla looked at him, her eyes no longer confused, no longer searching, clear, cold, honest. Nothing, she said. Silence, because there's nothing left. And in that moment, everything ended. Not loudly, not dramatically, but completely. Because sometimes the hardest endings are the quiet ones. That night, Laylo didn't cry. Not immediately, not loudly, because sometimes pain is too deep to come out right away. She sat alone, in the same house, the same place that once felt like a dream. Now, it felt unfamiliar, cold, empty, as if everything inside it was fake, because maybe it always was. She looked around, the walls, the furniture, the life she built, and suddenly it meant nothing, because trust was gone, and without trust, nothing remains. She stood up slowly, walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, and paused. For a moment, she didn't move, because this was real. This was the decision, not words, not thoughts, action. She took a suitcase, placed it on the bed, and began packing. Not everything, just what mattered, just what was hers. Each item felt heavier than it should, because it carried memories, moments, lies. She stopped for a second, closed her eyes. "This is over," she whispered. Not to him, not to anyone, to herself. Because sometimes you need to hear it to believe it. The door opened quietly. Aziz stood there, watching. "What are you doing?" he asked, even though he already knew. Laylo didn't look at him. "I'm leaving." Simple. Final. Aziz stepped closer. "Laylo, don't do this." She stopped, turned slowly, and looked at him. Not with anger, not with hate, but with something worse. Disappointment. "You already did this," she said quietly. Silence. Those words left no space for argument, no space for excuses, no space for anything. Aziz stood there, speechless, because deep inside, he knew she was right. Laylo closed the suitcase, picked it up, walked past him without hesitation, without looking back, because some endings don't need one last look. She reached the door, paused, just for a second, then opened it, and stepped outside, into a life she didn't expect, but chose, because sometimes losing everything is the only way to save yourself. The first days felt unreal, like she was walking through someone else's life. Laylo stayed in a small apartment, simple, quiet, nothing like before. No luxury, no comfort, no familiar things, but also no lies, no pretending, no betrayal. And somehow, that mattered more. She woke up early, not because she had to, but because she couldn't sleep. Her mind, still full, memories replaying, moments she now saw differently. Every smile, every word, every lie. "How did I not see it?" she whispered. That question came again and again, but answers never did. Days passed. She tried to move forward, step by step, slowly, carefully. But healing is not fast. It doesn't follow time. It follows pain. And her pain was still there, deep, real. One evening, she looked at her phone. A message from Aziz. "I'm sorry." 2 words. Simple. Too simple. She stared at it for a long time. Her fingers didn't move, because some apologies come too late. She locked the phone, didn't reply, because sometimes silence is the answer. Another message from Nargiza. "Please talk to me." Laylo laughed softly, not happily, but painfully. Talk? Now? After everything? She didn't open it, didn't need to, because she already knew. There was nothing left to hear, nothing left to fix, nothing left to save. That night, she stood by the window, looking outside, the city lights, the moving cars, life continuing, as if nothing had happened. And maybe that was the truth. The world doesn't stop for your pain. It moves on, and you have to decide if you will stay behind or move with it. Laylo took a deep breath. "I will be okay," she whispered, not because she believed it fully, but because she needed to. Because sometimes strength doesn't come from certainty, It comes from choosing to keep going, even when it hurts. Just when Lalo thought things couldn't get more complicated, they did. One morning, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello?" A calm voice replied, "Is this Lalo?" "Yes." "This is from Aziz's office." Her heart tightened. "Office? Why?" "We need to speak with you about something important." Silence. Lalo frowned. "I don't understand. It's regarding legal documents." That word caught her attention. Legal. "Can you come today?" the voice asked. Lalo hesitated. Part of her wanted to say no, to stay away, to never go back. But something felt off, something important. "I'll come," she said. Later that day, she stood in front of the building, the same place, the same life. But now it felt different, distant, like it no longer belonged to her. She walked inside, slowly, carefully. A man greeted her, professional, serious. "Please sit," he said. Lalo sat down, her hands tense. "What is this about?" she asked. The man placed a folder on the table, opened it, and said, "Before your marriage, Aziz made certain legal arrangements." Silence. "What kind of arrangements?" she asked slowly. The man looked at her. "Everything is in your name." The room froze. Lalo blinked. "What? The house? The accounts? The business shares? All transferred?" Her breath caught. "That's not possible." But the documents were there. Clear, official, real. "Why would he do that?" she whispered. The man hesitated, then said, "He wanted to protect you." Protect. That word felt strange, confusing, conflicting, because this was the same man who betrayed her, the same man who lied. And yet, he had done this before everything, before she knew, before it all fell apart. Lalo sat there, trying to understand. How can someone hurt you and still do something like this? No answer, only questions. Because people are not always simple, not always one thing. And sometimes the same person can be both, the one who breaks you and the one who protects you. And that truth is the hardest to understand. Lalo couldn't leave. Not yet. Not after what she just heard. Her mind was spinning, confused, overwhelmed. "How can this be real?" she whispered. The lawyer sat calmly, watching her process everything. "If you have questions," he said, "I will answer what I can." Lalo looked at him, her voice unsteady. "Why would he transfer everything to me?" Silence. Then the man replied, "Because he didn't trust himself." Those words felt unexpected. Lalo frowned. "What does that mean?" The man leaned slightly forward. "Before your marriage, Aziz had a history." A pause. "He made mistakes." Lalo's heart tightened. "What kind of mistakes?" she asked slowly. The man hesitated, then said, "He hurt people." Silence. "Relationships," he added. "Trust." Lalo felt a chill, because now it started to make sense. He knew who he was, the man continued, and he didn't trust himself to be better. That sentence hit deeply, because it wasn't just about actions. It was about awareness, about knowing your flaws and still not being able to change. "So he transferred everything," Layla whispered, "in case he hurt you too." The man nodded. "Yes." Silence filled the room. Heavy, complex, because now this wasn't simple anymore. Not just betrayal, not just lies, but something deeper, something complicated. Laylo looked down, her hands trembling slightly. "So he knew? He would hurt me." The man didn't answer directly because the truth was already there, and it didn't need to be repeated. Tears filled Laylo's eyes, not just from pain, but from understanding, because now she saw it clearly. He wasn't pretending to be perfect. He was trying to protect her from himself. And still, he failed, because some habits, some patterns, are stronger than intentions. Laylo stood up slowly, her mind heavy, her heart conflicted, because now she didn't just see a man who betrayed her. She saw someone who knew he would, and tried in his own way to fix it before it happened. And that made everything even harder. Laylo stepped outside. The air felt different, heavier, as if the world itself was waiting for her decision. She stood still, the folder in her hands, the truth in her mind, and a question in her heart. What do I do now? Before today, it was simple. He betrayed her, she left. End of story. But now, nothing was simple anymore, because now she knew. He didn't just hurt her. He expected it, prepared for it, tried to protect her from it, and still failed. Laylo closed her eyes. This doesn't change anything, she whispered, but deep inside, it did. Because understanding changes everything, even when you don't want it to. She walked slowly, not knowing where, just moving, trying to think, trying to feel, trying to decide. Her phone buzzed. A message from Aziz. I know you went to the office. She stopped. Her heart tightened. Another message. I think you deserve the truth. Silence. Laylo stared at the screen. Her fingers didn't move because part of her didn't want to hear it, but another part needed to. She typed slowly. Then say it. The reply came quickly. Meet me. 2 words. Simple. Dangerous. Laylo hesitated. This wasn't just a meeting. This was a choice. To face him, to hear him, to reopen everything, or to walk away forever. She looked ahead, the road in front of her, unclear, uncertain, just like her future. And sometimes the hardest decisions are not about right or wrong, but about what you can live with. Laylo took a deep breath, then typed 1 word, where? And just like that, the past was no longer over. The place was quiet, a small cafe, almost empty, neutral, safe. Laylo arrived first, sat down, her hands still, but her heart, anything but. Minutes passed. Then he walked in, Aziz. He looked different, not confident, not composed, just tired. He saw her, paused for a moment, then came closer, sat down across from her. Silence. Long, heavy. Neither of them spoke, because both of them knew this moment mattered. Finally, Aziz broke it. You already know some of it, he said. Laylo didn't respond, just looked at him, waiting. Not for excuses, for truth. I wasn't honest with you, he continued. Simple, direct, late. But that's not the whole story. Laylo's eyes narrowed slightly. Then what is? She asked. Aziz looked down for a second, then back at her. I didn't plan to hurt you. Silence. Laylo let out a quiet breath. No one ever plans to, she said, her voice calm but sharp. Aziz nodded. You're right. A pause. Then, but I knew I might. That honesty cut deeper than any lie. Laylo felt it. I've always been like this, he continued, restless, unsatisfied, always looking for something more. Silence. And when I met you, his voice softened, I thought it would change. Laylo didn't move. I wanted it to change, he added, but I didn't trust myself. That same truth again, clear, consistent, painful. So you married me anyway? She asked. Aziz nodded slowly. Yes. And transferred everything to me, she continued, because you knew. Silence. Yes. That word felt heavy, real. And her? Laylo asked quietly. Nargisa? Aziz closed his eyes briefly. It started after we got married. Laylo's heart tightened. Why her? She whispered. Aziz didn't answer immediately. Then, because she was easy. Silence. Brutal honesty. She didn't ask for anything real, he continued. No responsibility, no expectations. Laylo felt something break again, because now she understood everything, not just the betrayal, but the choice behind it. You had everything, she said softly, and you still chose that. Aziz looked at her. I didn't deserve what I had. That sentence was not an excuse. It was a confession. And somehow, that made it worse, because now there were no lies left, no confusion, no illusions, just truth. And truth is always harder to face. Silence stayed between them, not empty, but full of everything that had been said and everything that hadn't. Laylo looked at him, really looked at him, not as her husband, not as the man she trusted, but as he was, flawed, honest, broken in his own way, and dangerous in ways she finally understood. You knew who you were, she said quietly. Aziz nodded. And you still chose me. Yes. Why? She asked, not angry, not emotional, just needing to understand. Aziz took a slow breath. Then, because I wanted something real, his voice steady, even if I didn't know how to keep it. That answer was painful, but honest. Layla looked down, her fingers lightly touching the edge of the table, thinking, feeling, deciding. Because now, everything was clear. There were no lies left, no confusion, no illusions, just truth. And truth demands a decision. She closed her eyes for a moment, took a breath, then looked at him again. This doesn't fix anything, she said. Aziz didn't argue, because it didn't. You didn't just hurt me, you broke something that can't be repaired. Her voice calm, but final. Trust, once broken, doesn't return the same, no matter what you say, no matter what you do. Aziz looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. I know. And that was it. No fight, no begging, no promises, because both of them understood this was the end, not because of anger, but because of clarity. Laylo stood up, slowly, confident, certain. I won't go back, she said. Simple, final. Aziz didn't stop her, didn't reach for her, didn't say anything, because this time he knew. She wasn't leaving out of emotion, she was leaving out of truth. Laylo turned, walked away, step by step, without hesitation, without looking back, because this time she wasn't losing something, she was choosing herself. And sometimes that is the hardest decision of all. Time passed, not quickly, not easily, but steadily. Laylo's life changed completely, not because everything became perfect, but because she did. At first, it was difficult, the silence, the emptiness, the absence of what once was. But slowly, she adapted. She built a routine, a new life, on her own terms. No more waiting, no more questioning, no more doubting herself. Because she had learned something important. Pain changes you, but it also teaches you. Laylo started working, focused, determined, not to forget the past, but to grow beyond it. She stopped checking her phone, stopped expecting messages, stopped looking back, because looking back only hurts when you're not ready to move forward. And she was ready, not fully healed, but strong enough. One evening, she looked at herself in the mirror, the same face, the same eyes, but different, stronger, clearer, no longer searching for answers, because she had them. I deserved better, she whispered, and this time she believed it, not as a question, but as truth. She remembered everything, the love she thought was real, the betrayal she never expected, the truth she had to face, and the decision she made. And for the first time, she didn't feel broken. She felt rebuilt. Because sometimes you don't go back to who you were. You become someone new, someone stronger, someone who knows their worth. And that is more powerful than anything you lost. That night, she stood by the window again, but this time, she wasn't looking for something. She was just looking, calm, at peace, because her life was finally hers, and no one could take that away again. After she left, everything changed for Aziz. Not immediately, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. The house felt different, too big, too empty, too silent. The same walls, the same furniture, the same life, but without meaning, because she was gone, and with her, something important left too. At first, he didn't feel it fully. He continued his routine, work, meetings, business, distractions, and Nargiza, still there, still present, but something was different. The excitement was gone, the mystery, the thrill, all gone. Because now there was no risk, no secret, no challenge, just reality. And reality was empty. One evening, he sat with her. Silence between them. Not comfortable, not real, just there. "This isn't the same," Nargiza said. Aziz didn't respond, because he felt it too. "You changed," she added. He looked at her. "No," he said quietly. "I just see things clearly now." Silence. And that clarity changed everything, because now he understood what he had and what he lost. Layla wasn't perfect, but she was real, honest, loyal, and he lost that for something temporary, superficial, empty. Days passed, and slowly, Nargiza left too. Not dramatically, not painfully, just gone, because there was nothing left to stay for. And now, Aziz was alone, truly alone. No love, no connection, no one waiting for him, no one trusting him, no one believing in him. And for the first time, he felt it. Not regret, something deeper, loss, real loss. Because sometimes you don't realize the value of something until it's gone, completely, irreversibly. He sat alone one night, in silence, thinking, not about what he did, but about what he could never fix, because some things, once broken, cannot be rebuilt, no matter how much you understand later. And that was his reality now. In the end, there was no dramatic moment, no big return, no second chance. Just life, moving forward. Layla continued her life, step by step, day by day. She worked, she grew, she healed. Not all at once, not perfectly, but honestly. Because healing is not about forgetting. It's about accepting. And she had accepted everything. The love, the betrayal, the truth, and most importantly, herself. One evening, she stood in front of the mirror again. But this time, she didn't search for answers. She didn't question herself. She didn't doubt. She simply looked and saw someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who had learned. "I'm enough," she whispered. And for the first time, those words felt real. Far away, Aziz lived a different life, a quieter one, a lonelier one. Not because he had nothing, but because he had lost something he could never replace: trust. And once trust is gone, everything else loses its meaning. He sometimes thought about her, not every day, but enough. Enough to remember, enough to understand, enough to feel what he once ignored. And that was his lesson. Because sometimes life doesn't punish you loudly, it teaches you quietly, with absence, with silence, with what is no longer there. And Lalo was no longer there. That was the truth. Simple, final, and powerful. Because in the end, this wasn't just a story about betrayal. It was a story about value, about knowing your worth, about choosing yourself, even when it's hard. And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away and never look back.